opportunity to have a week to spend with the Buddha of compassion so that we can really go deeper in our practice and learn the Dharma and integrate it in our lives. So we'll be working with the Chenrezig meditation together, doing the front generation. Some of you have probably received the empowerment into 1,000-armed Chenrezig, and so you can do the self-generation in the silent meditation times, and perhaps I can meet with those people separately one afternoon and kind of explain it. But if you read the book, what's the name of the book? Cultivating a Compassionate Heart, the Yoga Method of Chenrezig. Sorry, I can't remember the names of my own books. Yeah, that it will, the people, if you have the the empowerment, then it explains the self-generation practice in there, so that's a very good resource for you. And it's a good resource also even if you're not doing the self-generation, if you're doing it just like we are in the book, visualizing Chenrezig in front or on top of our head, it's also a very good resource for explaining parts of the sadhana so that you know what you're doing. And I'll try and explain a little bit of that this morning too. Okay, so it's a silent retreat, not because we're unfriendly, but because we want to give everybody space to really look inside and become friends with yourself. Because so often when we're with groups of people, we talk a lot, and what do we talk mostly about? Ourselves. And so we're constantly telling people, creating an image of ourselves that we want other people to believe we are. And, that gets really fatiguing. And it just solidifies sometimes a very unhealthy self-image. So when we're not speaking, it's really to give ourselves and others that space to really just be without having to be somebody. Okay, so no Facebook, and even in the years before Facebook, we don't even need Facebook. We just open our mouth and we're creating an image of this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is what I like, and this is what I don't like, and this is the political party that I follow, and you, oh my God, you believe in that guy, and and on, and we just create identities. And one of the purposes of doing the Chenrezig meditation is to realize that identity we've created for ourselves is completely false. Yeah, it doesn't exist. Now, we've made up some kind of identity who we think we are, and then we live according to that, and that's not who we are at all. And so doing the Chenrezig practice, what we're trying to do is realize that we have a lot of other qualities inside of ourselves that we don't often know about or give ourselves credit for, and to begin to identify with those qualities instead of what my teacher Lama Yeshe used to call our poor quality view. Okay, so he understood Westerners quite well, and how we have a poor quality view. Yeah, you have a poor quality view. Oh, I look on Facebook. All my friends have such good lives. They're doing this, they're doing that. They're falling in love, they're traveling, they got a promotion. Everybody looks so happy. And, it's just not happening for me. And all my dreams aren't coming true. And anyway, I'm just such a horrible person. I don't deserve it anyway. Yeah, so, what am I going to do with my life? I'm just like, I have all these problems since I grew up as a kid, and I don't believe in myself, and I just think I'm trash. Yeah, I guess that's what I am. Okay, that's a poor quality view. Do you have that somewhere inside yourself? Yeah, I'm not worthy, I'm full of shame, something's wrong with me. Yeah. And then we respond to it either, agreeing with it and, feeling sorry for ourselves because everybody else is successful and wonderful and we're just kind of, hanging in there. Or we get angry. So that creates a lot of unhappiness, doesn't it? Either the self-pity or the anger. So that's exactly what Lama was meaning by poor quality view. Yeah. So what we're going to be doing this week is hopefully dismantling some of that and seeing that there's some really wonderful qualities inside of us that can be activated and brought to the fore. Okay? But it often involves looking at that poor quality view and noticing what it is and then realizing that that's not who we are. Because you think about it, just even through our body language, how we express who we are. Yeah. Or if you're a guy. Yeah. You ever notice? Guys usually stand like this with their feet apart. Yeah. And there's Chenrezig like this. Yeah. Can you imagine? Put your arms out. Put your arms out. Yeah? Put your arms out. Okay? Now put them like this. Is there a difference in how you feel? You bet there's a difference. This is like, wow. There's all these living beings. Yeah? And I have the potential to hug them. I'm not, but I have that potential. And I have eyes in the palms of my hands looking at them, seeing them as worthy human beings, seeing that they have the potential to become a Buddha. Yeah, seeing their good qualities and wishing them happiness. Yeah. So this, how Chenrezig is so different than this. Yeah? Okay? So what we're trying to do is this. Okay? And it feels weird at the beginning. Yeah? It's like, oh, I'm so vulnerable. Well, I better put those two hands in front here like this. Yeah. Where's that jewel in the palm of my hand? That's going to protect me. Yeah. So, but Chenrezig's not doing this out of protection, Chenrezig's doing this out of respect for other sentient beings. Okay? Respect for the three jewels. Okay, so this is the direction that we want to be going in. during this week. Okay, so it's good to begin your meditation with a brief body scan to release any tension there may be in your body. So begin by being aware of sensations in your feet and your legs. And if there's any tension there, then consciously release that. Then tune into feelings that are in your belly, your lower abdomen. Some people store their stress there. Their belly's tight. If you find any tension in your belly, then let that go. And then be aware of sensations in your back, shoulders, chest, and arms. A lot of us store our attention in our shoulders, especially if we work a lot at the computer. So in that case, it's good. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears as high as you can. Tuck your chin in. Hold it for a moment. And then bring your shoulders down very quickly and move them. And that's very good for releasing tension in your upper back and your shoulders. Then become aware of sensations in your neck, chin, face. Sometimes we store our stress in our jaw, and our jaw is clenched, or our facial muscles are scrunched up, or our neck is stiff, again from computer use. So if any of that is the case with you, again, let that tension go. And now turn your focus to your breath, letting the flow of your breath be whatever it naturally is. So don't deep breathe. but simply watch the breath as it goes out and in. And you can watch it by focusing at your upper lip and the nostrils and being aware of the sensation of the breath as it passes there. Or you can focus at it by observing the rise and fall of your belly, placing your attention around the navel area. So choose one of those 2 points and then simply observe your breath. If you get distracted, notice it, but don't make a story about it. Simply return your focus home, which is the breath. So you keep coming home to the breath as much as you need to. And in this way, by concentrating on one object, here the breath, then the mind grows quieter. So I'll do this for a few minutes. Make sure you're sitting up straight, because if you're not, then very easy to fall into drowsiness. And then let's cultivate our motivation. And recalling how our very lives depend on the kindness of others. Our food, clothing, shelter, medicine, everything comes from others. Then let's have an attitude of appreciation and affection towards all these other sentient beings. Realizing that due to their efforts, due to their kindness, we stay alive every day. And so with an attitude wishing to repay that kindness, then we're seeking to do that through a process of self-transformation, abandoning the impediments, practicing all the good qualities so that we can become fully awakened Buddhas and have, from our side, no handicaps to being of benefit to other living beings. So that benefit may be through material means, but the greatest benefit is being able to lead them on the path to awakening, a state of actual freedom. So we aspire to do that, and to do that, then knowing we need to do it ourselves first. So with that intention to become like the Buddha Chenrezig, then we will listen and practice and share the Buddha's teachings, the Dharma, together. So, what I'd like to do this session is go through the sadhana in a general way, so that you get the flavor of it and you have the idea of what it's trying to do. So with the sadhana, I mean the meditation text here that's in the red book. Okay. So this is actually quite a psychological method, yeah, because we begin by getting in touch with the enlightened qualities that we want to develop, and then projecting them outwards in the symbolic form of the Buddha Chenrezig. Then relating to Chenrezig that we've projected out there, through doing various things. And then at the very end of the practice, Chenrezig comes on top of our heads and dissolves into us. So it's very skillful because we're projecting out this vision of the kind of person we want to be, and then relating to it, and then absorbing it in because it came from our mind to start with. Okay? And so this relates to a fundamental Buddhist principle that our mind is the creator. Okay? Not that the mind went poof and put the molecules together to make the book. Not creating like that. But our mind, by how it looks at things, by the actions we do, the karma we create, then it creates our experiences through our emotions, through our attitude, through our views. We relate to things in a certain way, and we cause them to be like that for us. Okay, I know that sounds a little funny English, but just to give you an example, okay, we have friends, enemies, and strangers, right? By enemies, I don't mean, people standing there with a gun ready to shoot you, but people you don't get along with, that you don't like, who you just don't understand because they're from outer space somewhere, and you wish they stayed there. But it's strange, isn't it? We look and it's like, okay, this person from their own side is a wonderful person. They're my friend. This one is an awful person. They're my enemy. And these people I don't know, so they just don't matter much. I don't care much about them. Yeah. But it's strange, isn't it, that the people we think are so wonderful, some other people can't stand. How did that happen? Because the people we think are so wonderful, we think are wonderful from their own side. They have all these good qualities in them. And seeing that that's the fact, how could these other people look at them and call them stupid jerks? Yeah, impossible. And what's even weirder is the person I think is a stupid jerk, other people think is wonderful. I won't talk politics, but you can make your own example. Okay? Now, if people from their own side were really inherently good or inherently bad, everybody should see them the same way. Everybody should relate to them the same way. But that's not how it is. So what's going on here? Because we think the way people appear to us is actually who they are, objectively out there. And we can't understand why everybody else doesn't see them in the same way. Although I'm not saying that you want everybody to see your boyfriend the same way you do, or your girlfriend the same way you do. But isn't that strange that we don't see the same people the same way? This is saying something about how our minds work. That when we look at certain people, we pick out different qualities, or we even project qualities that aren't there. What do they say? They say love is blind. Yeah. I think they mean attachment is blind. General love, real love isn't, but attachment's definitely blind. Yeah. And that person is just, my goodness. Yeah. And yet, we made it up. We made that person so wonderful by the way we're looking at them. Or we made somebody else so awful, again, by the way we're looking at them. And we can see that because we all have the experience of you meet somebody the first time and your instant feeling is you like them, but you get to know them and, well, And then other people, our instant feeling is, and then we get to know them and they're actually quite nice. So what we're getting at is our mind is involved with how we are experiencing the world. Okay? But we usually don't realize this, and we think everything is objective out there. So here what we're doing with Chenrezig is we're touching base with our own potential, imagining it in its fully developed form, projecting it outwards as Chenrezig, relating to Chenrezig, and then at the end, having Chenrezig dissolve back into us and inspire and bless our own mind. Okay, so it's quite a profound psychological method, yeah? When we visualize Chenrezig, we're imagining his body made of light, okay? So his body's not heavy, but is completely made of light, radiant, transparent. And Chenrezig, he looks kind of like a regular human being, but he has an awful lot of heads and an awful lot of arms, and it's not because his mom took thalidomide when she was pregnant, okay? This is symbolic, this is symbolic. And, 11 heads are looking out in all directions to look at sentient beings. And Chenrezig isn't looking at sentient beings with a scowl. And is not looking at sentient beings with suspicion, and he's not looking at sentient beings with the look of, what can I get out of you? How can you benefit me? He's looking at sentient beings with compassion. Compassion being the wish that someone be free of suffering and its causes. So just visualizing Chenrezig, Yeah, with his face looking at us, you know, he's looking at us with compassion. This can be a very new experience for us because sometimes our poor quality view cannot imagine anybody looking at us with compassion and understanding because we feel that everybody's always judging us and evaluating us and putting us down. And we're always worried about what people think about and what our reputation is. Do they like me? Do they not like me? Do they approve of me? You know, we're always anxious about that. And here, when we visualize Chenrezig, he's just looking at us with 100% acceptance and compassion. And he's not trying to sell us anything. He's not trying to impress us with his good qualities. He doesn't want anything from us. I mean, we give some apples and pears and water and bananas, but when you're a Buddha, you don't need that kind of stuff. And so to imagine, even in our mind's eye, you know, here's somebody looking at us, 100% acceptance, 100% compassion. You know, this is someone I can trust, that I can relax around. I don't have to prove myself. I don't have to be somebody. I can just relax. And yes, I have some good qualities, and yes, I have some faults. And Chenrezig sees them all, so I'm not going to try and pretend that I don't have them. And I'm not going to boast of my good qualities either. I don't need to do that. And so through creating this image of Chenrezig, we're giving ourselves a chance to learn to relate to others in a very different way. So before we visualize Chenrezig in the space in front, it's very helpful to get in touch inside of ourselves with the feeling of compassion. Yeah, what does compassion feel like? Yeah. And this, it sounds easy, but we have a whole lot of wrong ideas about compassion. Sometimes we think compassion means you're just a yes man, you're a pushover. Everybody's going to take advantage of you because you're compassionate. That's not what compassion is. And that's not how Chenrezig relates to everybody. Sometimes we think compassion is just being ushy-gushy. Yeah. Oh, you poor dear. You know, you've had such difficulty in your life. I feel so sorry. This is really terrible. The world's treated you unfairly. We have that kind, we think compassion is that. Or sometimes we think compassion means I'm going to save others. Yeah. Oh, they've had such horrible experiences. They're so mixed up. But I'm going to be in their life and I'm going to guide them. I'm going to help them get their heads screwed on right and make good decisions. They need me in their lives. You think that's compassion. Some of you are looking at me perplexed, like, what are you talking about? If those things aren't compassion, then what in the world is compassion? I think compassion means just being fully present there, not wanting something out of somebody. They don't need to need us. They don't need to say thank you to us. We do not need to save them. Shantideva, the 8th century Indian sage, had a beautiful example of helping others. And he said, It's like when the foot steps on a thorn. The hand reaches down, pulls out the thorn, and then you keep going. Okay? So the hand isn't going, oh God, foot, you did it again. How many times have I told you to not step on thorns, and you did it again? But I, the great and glorious hand, am so compassionate to you, the inept foot, that once again I'm going to come and save you and pull the thorn out. And don't forget that I've done this for you, because you owe me something. Okay, that's not how the hand helps the foot, is it? The hand just reaches down, pulls the thorn out, puts it down. If the foot needs bandage, does that. We go on. Okay? Foot doesn't need to say thank you. Foot doesn't need to say, I don't know what I'd do without you, hand. And the hand is totally content. It doesn't feel like it's been betrayed or unappreciated. The hand just feels, oh good, I was able to help the foot. How nice. And the foot helps me, because without the foot, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere. So I'm actually grateful to the foot. So compassion is, when we look, how come the hand helps the foot so easily? It's because they both see themselves as part of the same organism. The hand's not saying, well, I'm higher up on the body than you are, so I'm more worthwhile. You know? And the foot's not saying, oh, you think you're such a big shot. Without me, you would be on your knees. Nobody's tooting their own horn here. Everybody's just doing what they can to help each other. Mm-hmm. No difference in class, in worthiness, in anything like that. Mm-hmm. It's just very direct and immediate. So that's the kind of compassion that we want to have for others. Okay? And it gets shown in different ways. Sometimes we show compassion by saying no. Yeah. Somebody wants us to get involved in something that isn't very smart, and we say no. And they go, how could you do that to me? I've always counted on you, and now you're saying no. And we say, yeah, nothing much I can do to change your mind, but this is my decision. Okay? So this is, visualizing Chenrezig. We're learning how to generate compassion ourselves, and also how to relate to compassion and how to relate to love, because a lot of us cannot see the love and affection and kindness and compassion that is around us all the time. Yeah? We just plain old can't see it, because we're so used to seeing the world through the lenses of lack, through poverty lenses. There isn't enough. I didn't get it. Somebody else has it, and I deserve it. You know? It's the mind of lack, the mind of poverty. And if I give something, I won't have it. Instead of saying, if I give something, I feel so full because I've benefited somebody else. Okay? So we have to learn how to open our eyes to see the goodness around us in our lives and to accept that and to realize we are worthy recipients of that. Because actually we've been recipients of kindness since, we were conceived in our mother's womb. Other people have been taking care of us. Yeah. We got born, yeah, came out, yeah, first thing they do, yeah, clean us up. Yeah. I used to think they turned you upside down and spanked you, but they don't do that anymore. They put something in your nose and suck the stuff out so you can breathe on your own. Yeah. But then, after that, everybody just kept taking care of us. They fed us, they turned us over, they changed our diaper, got up in the middle of the night, taught us how to walk, taught us how to talk, potty trained us, thank goodness. But throughout our whole lives, people have been giving to us and helping us. And it's so normal that we often just take it for granted and we don't see it. Or when we have feelings of unworthiness, we push it away. What kind of idiot are you if you care about me? Don't be kind to me. I'm unworthy. Push, push, push. Okay? We do like that. Yeah, but actually there's a lot of kindness and goodness all around us if we open our eyes and see it. Mm-hmm. And one of the ways to open our eyes and see it is to begin giving it to others. So I really, I can't remember Mother Teresa's exact words, but there's one prayer that she has, something. If I feel lonely, give me somebody to care about. Yeah. If I feel unappreciated, give me somebody to appreciate. So that's very much the thing, The more we give, the giving in itself becomes the pleasure and the quote, quote, the reward, the satisfaction. Okay? Whereas if we just sit there and bellyache that the world is so mean to us, do you like to be around people who bellyache and complain? No. So when we bellyache and complain, do other people want to be around us? No. But somehow we feel that our bellyaching and complaining is different, and other people should really understand that it's much worse than anybody else's, and they should really do something about it. Yeah. The world owes me something. Because the world doesn't realize how fortunate it is to have me in it. No wonder things are going downhill. Nobody appreciates them. I have all the answers. Well, but a lot. Okay? So, this meditation on compassion it's touching us in a lot of different places. And it pushes buttons. Yeah? Because for us to open up, some of those sore spots that we're always protecting in ourselves have to get pushed. Yeah. And they get pushed until we decide that we're tired of having those small sore spots. Yeah. Till we decide to drop them. But the sore spots were created by others. They did this to me. I'm damaged goods. Well, yes, we've all had difficult conditioning, but our conditioning is not who we are, and we have the freedom as adults to recondition ourselves. Yeah, so let's not make identities out of our sore spots. That's what I meant by, when we keep silence, we can't create that identity. Okay, so just when you visualize Chenrezig, the whole way Chenrezig looks is an expression of compassion. So before we do the visualization, we spend a little bit of time, and what would it feel like to look at everybody with compassion? Yeah, without any judgment. What would that feel like inside myself to look at others that way? So you get in touch with that feeling, and then you imagine that feeling taking a physical form in the same way that an artist has an internal feeling and expresses it through a physical form. Okay? So we paint Chenrezig with our mind, and he's completely beautiful. The 11 heads looking out at all sentient beings with compassion, arms outstretched, willing to help, eyes in the palms, looking at the experience of others, understanding others' experiences, not judging them. Yeah. Chenrezig is wearing jewelry, a crown and bracelets and armlets and anklets and some kind of belt and everything. But Chenrezig is not doing that out of vanity to try and impress others with how rich they are, because look how many diamonds they have. The jewels that Chenrezig wears are symbolic of the 6 perfections, of generosity, ethical conduct, fortitude, joyous effort, meditative stability, wisdom. Yeah, that's what ornaments, that's what adorn Chenrezig, are the inner qualities. So it's expressed by wearing jewels, but it's not the jewels that attract people to Chenrezig. And when you look at Chenrezig's, whole form, you kind of can't tell, is Chenrezig a man or a woman? Because in Buddhahood, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, our mind is not male, our mind is not female. Yeah. It's that which is clear and cognizant. So there's no gender stereotypes, there's no gender confusion, there's no, not any of this. Chenrezig's not trying to attract somebody so that they fall in love with him. So there's none of this way that we so often have of relating to other people. Chenrezig's not going to look at my jewels. And don't I smell so nice? Aren't you attracted to me? You know, that's not what's on Chenrezig's mind. Okay. So it's in our meditation, it's giving us a way to think of how to relate to other living beings in a very different way. Okay? You know, Chenrezig's holding the wish-fulfilling jewel, okay, in his palms. That's why when we prostrate, we tuck our thumbs in as if we're holding a wish-fulfilling jewel. Usually when we think of wish-fulfilling anything, it's like, okay, may I have a yacht? May I have a big house? May I have a ton of money? Yeah. May I have the perfect job and perfect spouse and, this, that, and the other thing. That's not Chenrezig's wish-fulfilling jewel. Okay. Wish-fulfilling jewel is, when we put our hands together, it's saying, I have the Buddha nature. I have the potential to become a Buddha. Okay. And Chenrezig is holding that fully developed Buddha nature as a Buddha. Okay. And then, his upper right hand holds a mala. Yeah. So the rosary, reminding us that to say Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. It's not Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Padme Hum, Padme Hum, Mani Mani. Okay, it's not that. Okay, it's Om Mani Padme Hum. Yeah, so helping us to remember to recite that. Yeah. And then the next hand, which, by the way, is the lowest hand. Okay, so first hand's here, second hand's here, third hand is the lowest one, fourth one is the one in the middle. Okay, so the lowest hand is in the gesture of giving realizations, and from it a rain of nectar falls. Yeah. So just automatically, Chenrezig's not a different kind of barista, not giving you, your latte, yeah, but and not pouring booze, but giving nectar. Okay, and the nectar here, especially we think, eliminates the hunger and thirst of the pretas, who are one type of being that don't have the karma to receive a lot of food. Okay, and then the fourth hand has a dharma wheel. Okay, the dharma wheel there, and so turning the wheel of dharma, giving the teachings. Then on this side, the upper hand is holding a lotus. Some texts say golden lotus, some texts say white lotus. You can choose. Okay. Although I'm sure there's one right answer, so you should be anxious because you might get it wrong. Okay, I'm joking. Okay, here it says white lotus, and there's one prayer it says a golden lotus. Anyway, the lotus, what the lotus symbolizes is, because a lotus is rooted in the mud, yeah, but it grows out of the mud and is this totally beautiful flower that has no mud on it, even though its roots are in the mud. Okay? So this represents the bodhisattva ideal. Bodhisattvas are Buddha wannabes. Okay, they're practicing to become a Buddha, and they deliberately take rebirth in cyclic existence in order to benefit the rest of us. Okay? So their taking birth in cyclic existence is their roots in the mud. Okay? But the lotus, being above the water and totally unstained, is the bodhisattvas living in our world, but they're impervious to all of the afflictions, to all of the craziness in our world. They're unstained by it. Yeah? So they're in the world here to benefit us, but they don't get all wigged out by what's going on and upset and anxious and desperate and everything else. Okay, they're unstained. Yeah. And so because they're unstained, their compassion can remain steady. Yeah. Our compassion goes up and down a lot, doesn't it? Yeah. I like you. I don't like you. Compassion goes up, compassion goes down. Okay. You voted for who? Oh, yes. You voted for who? Down. Okay. So Chenrezig's compassion is steady. Yeah. So the lotus represents that. The third hand holds a vase full of compassionate wisdom. Yeah. Full of the nectar of compassionate wisdom, I should say. Okay. And then the fourth hand holds a bow and arrow, and that symbolizes when you're meditating on emptiness, being able to hit the target of the object of negation with a mind that's completely steady. So having the union of serenity and insight. And the bow and arrow also symbolizes defeat of the four negative forces. So those are our contaminated aggregates, our body and mind produced under the influence of ignorance and polluted karma. Death, big problem. The afflictions, and then the fourth negative force, fourth Mara, okay, we see as a character in the scriptures, somebody who's always throwing a wrench, trying to throw a wrench into other people's practice. Okay. So sometimes it's a person who praises us. How does a person who praise me throw a wrench in my practice? Well, they praise me, so I like them. So I'll follow their advice. And they say to me, oh, you're so wonderful. Why do you want to go on this meditation retreat for a week? All you do is sit there and look at your belly button. I want to take you to the Bahamas. I want to take you to Bali. Yeah. So that's how sometimes the people who praise us take us away from the Dharma. Okay, they mean well, but the wellness they mean is temporary pleasure. They don't have the idea of spiritual transcendence, and the pleasure that comes from that. Okay. And then Chenrezig has this antelope skin, which always puzzles us. It's like, why is he wearing a dead animal skin? I thought he represented compassion. So there's some story, which I can't remember well, of some hunters, and he's an antelope who he distracted one of the hunters, who in turn, I think, killed the antelope. Yeah, but it saved the other person. Okay. And maybe around here, uh, Chenrezig, has some turkey feathers also. Yeah. Okay. So in the dining room, when you look above the altar, the circular, that's the thousand-armed Chenrezig. Uh, the best time to look is in the afternoon, when the afternoon sun is shining through. It's really exquisite. And just a little aside, the person who made that, she lives in North Dakota, South Dakota, one of the Dakotas. She made it. She's making another one for the Kuan Yin room of two-armed Chenrezig. Four-armed, yeah, thank you, four-armed Chenrezig. Yeah. And she just wrote, and she hopes to have it here and put it in just before Geshe Dadal's teachings in September. Yeah. Okay. So I was going to explain the whole sadhana this morning, but we got through page 1. But I'm hoping that this will, give you something to meditate on, One more thing. We're visualizing here, so don't expect to see things with your eyes. Yeah, you're seeing with your mind's eye. Okay, so if I say ice cream, do you have an image of ice cream in your mind? Yeah, what flavor is it? So everybody has their own image, but it's very clear, isn't it? Even your eyes are open. Yeah, that's visualization. So don't sit there and go, oh, where's Chenrezig? Just relax and, let Chenrezig appear. You'll say, but it's so much easier visualizing ice cream. And that's simply because of familiarity. Yeah. The more we visualize Chenrezig, the easier it becomes. It just becomes much more familiar. Okay. The statue, when you first walk in Chenrezig Hall on the ground floor, that is Chenrezig in the Chinese tradition, named Kuan Yin. Okay. When you go up the stairs in the center, there's another statue that's also of Kuan Yin. Okay. When you go into the Kuan Yin room, yeah, the large statue is Kuan Yin appearing as Samantabhadra. Okay, because Kuan Yin takes many forms, 2, 4, 1,000 armed, appearing as other Buddhas and so forth. Okay, but all are the nature of compassion. Okay, so we have a little time for questions.
Do you know what the colors of the heads symbolize?
No? Does anybody here know what the colors of the heads? Every retreat somebody asks that, but I don't know. Do you know?
The 4 negative forces again. I missed the first couple.
Okay. So our body and mind are aggregates under the control of afflictions and karma. That's the first one. Second one is death. Third one is the afflictions, the mental afflictions, chief of which are ignorance, anger, and attachment. And then the fourth one is Mara as a person who's, trying to distract you. Something, it actually means some external distracting force.